Hey everyone, it's Stranger Grayson here. Welcome back to another horror movie review. First off, I just want to say April Fools to everybody, or Happy April Fools. Congratulations to whatever pranks you pulled on your loved ones / friends, family. April Fools is a very highly celebrated holiday in the U.S., maybe in some other countries, but I know the U.S. celebrates it a lot, so I figured why not watch a movie that is dedicated to the holiday of April Fools. And that movie is, of course, the 1986 film April Fool's Day. Now, I have mixed feelings on this movie. I had low hopes going into it, thinking that it was going to be a slow, just boring slasher horror movie. But then, after watching it and seeing all the stuff that they pull in the movie, it really wasn't that bad. And some of the actors in here I actually know really well from some of the movies. So, April Fool's Day, what is it about? April Fool's Day follows a group of college students, and they have been invited by their friend Buffy, and they are going up to Buffy's parents' house / mansion on like an island, and they're all having to get on this ferry with, I believe there's like 8 of them, and you might recognize some of the people in the cast because the movie opens up with like this little documentary film that one of the students are making, and the only ones I really knew were Amy Steele, who is in Friday the 13th Part 2, and is basically this movie's, main character. And then you have Thomas F. Wilson, who was Biff from Back to the Future. I know, it's kind of weird seeing him in a horror slasher movie. You don't really see him in a lot of those. I never took him to be the horror movie type. But he brings a lot of joy into this movie for me. And of course, you got other characters like Rob, Nikki, Cliff, Cliff and some others, but they're getting on the ferry, getting ready to go to their friend's parents' house. And while they're there, Biff and this other guy are like pulling a prank on their fellow friends by pretending to throw knives, and then he gets mad, throws a knife, and stabs the dude in the gut, and then he falls off the ferry. And of course, 2 people go in there looking for him. One of them is Buck and the other is Rob. They both jump in looking for him. And while they are looking for him, of course, the dude that got stabbed rises up from the water, starts laughing, shows the fake knife and the fake blood. And of course, Arch starts laughing as well. Thomas F. Wilson plays Arch. And they're like, "Hi, April Fools, got you." So, everybody's mad that you don't pull stuff like that. And while everybody's, trying to get out of the water, Buck accidentally gets injured when he's trying to unhook the ferry, or hook up the ferry so they can leave, and his whole face gets like smushed with the ferry and the pole that was like in the water, and his face is like literal like eyeball hanging out, face all torn up on the side, and he's screaming in pain. Of course, everybody's freaking out. They call the lifeguard or the water patrol, and of course they drive away with Buck on the way to the hospital. So they eventually get them over to the island, and while they are stuck waiting there talking with the police officer eventually takes off, and they go up to Buffy's parents' house. While they're there, they pull some gags, have fun. One of the people that were involved in that previous gag that got Buck injured, feels a lot of guilt. But everybody else is having a good time at Buffy's place. They kind of forget what happened. And yeah, so they wake up the next day, and they realize that the guy that had a lot of guilt, that ran off, away from the others, he's gone missing. And let's just say when they go looking for him, a unannounced killer or a suspicious killer starts picking them off one by one. April Fool's Day was definitely a different horror movie than I'm used to seeing. It the body count was very decent. There, if you guys are gore fanatics for horror movies like this, or if you guys are just fans in the horror genre for the gore and the blood in general and the kills, this may not be the movie for you because you don't really see a lot of blood except like a few blood drops and maybe just a stab wound. That's about it. Other than that, not really a lot of blood and gore. And you get to understand that towards the end of the movie why there's not a lot of blood and gore and the whole twist ending. I'm not going to spoil that for you in case you guys haven't seen it, but that's mainly one of the reasons why there wasn't a lot of blood and gore. The characters I actually found very relatable and very unique to the other, horror movie characters that I've been used to watching and seeing die. You don't really feel a lot of emotion for them except for like a few, but in this movie, I actually found them pretty well written, and they were actually pretty funny people to watch and hang around with. The gags that were pulled in this movie, considering that it's April Fool's Day, the gags that were pulled in this movie I thought were very funny. Like there's a scene where a dude goes to lay down with his girlfriend. He turns his lamp off, but then it turns the lamp on the corner on. Of course, he has to get up, turn that lamp off. Then it turns the big light up on in his room. Then he walks over across the room, turns that light off, and then his lamp turns back on. Stuff like that I thought was kind of funny. Then there's another scene where Arch goes to sit in the chair, aka Thomas F. Wilson. Every time he sits in a chair, it like falls backward, or it bends backwards, and he falls out of the chair backwards. Then the chair immediately resets itself in the position. I'm like, that is one of the funniest pranks you could ever play on a person on April Fool's Day. And the fact that it just resets itself, I thought it was very hilarious. Now, one thing that could give mixed emotions and mixed feelings about on this movie is the ending. I'm kind of in the middle on the ending. I thought it was a very good twist, but it did kind of ruin some of the suspense that had going on. And when you understand why the twist ending is the way it was and how it explained some of the stuff earlier, that's what kind of saved it for me. Because if they would have done all the previous stuff, then I wouldn't really enjoyed it. But I kind of got mixed feelings on the ending. Doesn't ruin the movie completely. I think it's a pretty awesome. I think it's a pretty good slasher movie for the mid 1980s, late 1980s. This movie did come out in '86. That was like the yearly annual Friday the 13th movies coming out. And this movie was actually produced by Frank Mancuso Jr., the same guy that produced the Friday the 13th franchise. I thought that was pretty neat. Which could explain why Amy Steele was in this movie and is technically the final girl for this movie. But yeah, the ending can give mixed emotions, and I personally tend to think that they did okay with the ending. But it does not ruin the movie for me. I thought the ending was pretty well made. The soundtrack in this movie was pretty cool as well. I kind of got the main title soundtrack stuck in my head and the main end credit theme stuck in my head. It's just very catchy. It's, very like, honky tonky, stuff like that. Too bad you're crazy, stuff like that. It's definitely different for a horror movie. But other than that, very solid movie. Enjoyed most of the characters. Thought they were very very well written, and the whole thing with Buffy, didn't really enjoy her all that much. She was kind of boring, but other than that, very solid movie. So that has been my review on April Fool's Day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Very good / decent slasher film. Definitely should check it out for April Fool's Day. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it about a 7.5. Definitely not that bad of a film. Recommend it. 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. So, yeah. Pretty decent slasher flick. So anyway, what is everyone's thoughts on April Fool's Day? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Would really love to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next review. God bless and have a good day. Bye, everyone.